So how many people are we expecting?
I think we are eight in the group, but we will not expect Sha. Don't worry. We will start
Okay.
straight. Yeah, we will start straight.
All right. No problem.
Can you see my screen? Can you see the screen?
Yes, yeah, I can
All
see it
right.
now.
Okay. So good morning and welcome to this discussion. I think what is sure is we cannot do everything today. So we will start where God grant us grace to reach. We will just reach and we will take up for the next couple of days. What I'm thinking is we can be doing it every Thursday and Friday at this same time. So even if it is just 1 hour that we were able to do, we will just use the 1 hour wisely. Yeah. So please let's pray. Father, we thank you for this opportunity that you just grant to us by your grace, oh Lord. Grant us your spirit. May your spirit visit us, rest and abide with us, and grant us the understanding of what we will be talking about together here. For in Jesus' name we pray, amen. Thank you. So, as you know, we are here to talk about network pharmacology, and I think it will be more of practice than just talk and talk and talk. So we say network pharmacology, but we will also be talking about, we will be integrating molecular docking, and if God grant us grace, we can also talk about molecular dynamics. So network pharmacology generally it helps according to the literature. You perform network pharmacology generally to see, um, I mean, uh, to apprehend the different mechanisms that can be uh, backing any particular effect of drugs. And from network pharmacology, it can also help you to actually, if you are working, for example, with formulations. The Chinese usually they work with their formulations and herbal formulations that they are actually already using in the clinic. Yeah, in China there. Um, and the researchers they will just pick up the formulations, and the intention is to actually find out what's the mechanism behind the work that the formulation is doing, so that from they will be able to point out the different herbs, the different plants that are containing in the formulation using their own different databases, and and then they will find out the different components that are embedded in those different uh, plants, and from there from there now with network pharmacology we will be able to find out fish out different targets of our components of interest, and put it together with ailments that we are studying. If, for example, in our discussion, we'll be using breast cancer, for example. So, if we are studying breast cancer, for example, so we will go and fish out the targets and generally what we call the differentially expressed genes that are actually incorporated in the progress of that particular ailment and somehow specific to the ailment. So we will fish those targets out and fish out the targets of the components of our herbal medicine or whatever we are studying, and put them together and find out the intersections, or the intersections of where they are actually uh, common, where we can find the common genes that are both predicted for the plants or the components, the phytochemicals, and then the compound, I mean the targets that are actually predicted for the ailment of interest. And then we then sorry, we then use those common targets, and we used appropriate databases, and so just try and see, I mean, put them together in a network, and then we will we will now evaluate those network before putting it in a I mean for molecular docking and dynamics and all. I hope you are still following me.
Yes, we're
Oh,
following.
all right, thank you. So this is typically the workflow that we will be following. So generally, this is what is included in a network pharmacology. Like I just explained, in the first time we will fish out we will predict the targets. We will predict the different targets uh, for our components using a set of databases. PubChem, for example, is the one we use. Is that which is used generally. We use PubChem to fish out the SMICE of our components and put them in a Swiss target prediction database, and we will then found from there we will find um, the target of interest. Uh, I think there are other databases also, but in this particular work, we will be we will be talking and using Swiss target prediction. And then our ailments here on this figure, they worked on neuropathic pain. So we will use breast cancer in our discussion, as I said before, and then we will use different databases. The databases that are listed here: Gene Cards, OMIME, TDD, Drug Bank. So in these their particular works, those are the databases that they used for to predict the or fish out the target of the neuropathic pain. But in our discussion, we will be using the Cancer Genome Atlas, TCGA. We will fish out our targets from TCGA using a web-based database Gapia. We will be seeing it. And we will also use the Gene Expression Omnibus, and we will use those two databases to fish out our target of breast cancer. And then in number three, you will now see that they put them together, the different targets that they find out, and in Venn. So there are a lot of uh, a lot of softwares or or web-based softwares that can actually help us to actually conduct and draft a Venn diagram that will then help us to see the common um, genes. So with that common genes, we can now go to number four, put them into a string database to actually perform and draw the protein-protein interactions network. We then put them in a cytoscape to fish out the hub genes, what we call hub genes. As we will be going along, we will understand all those terms. So, and then we will then use the hub genes that we will find out. We will then use them and conduct gene ontology analysis and then Kirk pathway analysis. Here on this figure, they used David database, but we will be using our discussion. We will be using Shiny database, another database that does the same work actually, that does the same work. So after conducting the gene ontology and KEGG pathway analysis, now we can now jump to molecular docking and possibly molecular dynamic simulation. So the gene ontology, we actually focus on three components. We see the components of the different components, functions that that our common genes are actually involved in. Yeah. So that's basically what we will be doing. So for this morning, we will start with finding out the different targets of the ailments, and then if possible, we can also go on and start with finding out and predicting the target of our compound. So we said we want to be talking about how do you call it? We said we want to be talking about uh, working with breast cancer, but I've not decided yet which plant we can use. So anyone can actually make a suggestion at any point of time. So all right, so we will immediately go on to with working and trying to figure out the target differentially expressed genes in breast cancer. So what we do is we will be using two. I said it before. We will be using two databases. I'll write them in the comment section for us.
Mr. Thomas, can you please mute your mic?
I hope you can still hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will be using Google to fish out because I think it will be easier for everyone to follow with Google. So you can just go on Google, and we will use the Cancer Genome Atlas first, uh, called TCGA. But that TCGA we will be finding it on the Gapia database. So when you go in Google, you just type Gapia, and then the last version of Gapia is the Gapia 2. So you just click on Gapia 2, and as you are following, you can see here the Gapia 2, and we will just jump on that databases right away. So this is the interface of Gapia 2, and what we want to do here is to find the differentially expressed genes in breast cancer, because we want to find the genes actually uh, that are involved in the progression of the disease. So we will come into this panel at the left. We find where is written expression analysis, and you go directly on differential things. So we will here on differential expression analysis interface, you can pick here at this particular point of time, you can pick the element you want to work on. So these are the acronyms of different elements. How to know the elements, I mean, yeah, the disease that you are working with, how to know the corresponding acronym, you can just come here where it is written data sets here, and you click on the cancer name. So for example, I'm looking for breast cancer. So the data set that is available for breast cancer here is the BRCA, standing for breast invasive carcinoma. So I know that when I will come here in that menu drop out menu, I will find BRCA here. So I will just pick it. So you will now define the cutoffs that you want to use. So there are some literature. In some literature, you will find out that the log FC fold chain that the tools will start from 0.5 and 0.51, even until 2. But for me, I used to use a cutoff of 2. That's what I used to use. And for the Q value, the cutoff Q value, I used to use 0.05. So you can decide by yourself according to literature and decide what you want to actually use. We will be using the Lima methods here. So Lima method is also the one that is actually is just a statistical method that is used to uh, to study the differentially expressed genes. So on this interface, Gapia is proposing ANOVA and Lima. But if you check the literature, Lima is actually what is generally used. And as we will be using Gene Expression Omnibus also, that database is we will be using the R package that the database is providing, and that package use the Lima as well. So to make to use I mean conform everything together, we'll be using Lima here too. So under chromosomal distribution, we are interested in both overexpressed and underexpressed genes. So we just choose them. We just choose it, and then we will ask it to give us the list. If you want, you can ask it to give you the plot, but we will ask it to give us the list because we are interested in downloading actually downloading the list. It seems that I didn't choose breast cancer here. Let me choose, goes back and choose breast cancer BRCA, because it's breast cancer we are interested in, and reload. So now we have the genes, differentially expressed genes corresponding to breast cancer database. So we will now go on download. If you want, you can scroll up and down just to have a look. But what we are interested in is to download. So we click on download. We have the download. You will see table differential expression genes 2 here. So this is the download. We want to open this file in we want to open this table in Excel file. So I can now open the file, download. I can now open the file in Excel. So I just copy the table in Excel, and here I have my genes. So we can name okay, we will have to save it later. So I can just put these are the genes. So these are the genes of interest. Now, right now we have okay, we have I think 742 genes that the GCA database is giving us. So I want to save this. Sorry, are you still seeing my screen?
Yes, but we're seeing the web page. I am seeing the web page.
Oh, okay, sorry. Let me try and see what's happening with can you see the Excel file now?
No,
All
no,
right.
I'm still seeing your browser page.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay. So this is I hope you saw when I downloaded the data set.
Yes,
All right. So I just copied the data set in a file in Excel file. So we will now need to save this file for future use. I will save us and then I can browse. Uh, Let me save it in documents. Document. Let's say this is the TCGA data set. Okay, let me just create network farm discussion. So I will just now create TCGA data. So I just save it. So we will use the we will use this data set later. So what we've just done is to download the differentially expressed genes uh, for breast cancer in the TCGA. So we can actually use what we have here and just continue our work. But maybe we can be it can happen that we might be missing out some other genes. So in order to have a maximum possible of genes, so we use we generally use different databases and put them together to make your own data set. So that's why we will add to this data set, to this DCGA data set, we will add the GEO data set, which is a Gene Expression Omnibus. So I will now stop sharing this. And then so now we have finished with this particular database. The next database we are interested in, as I said before, is the GEO Gene Expression Omnibus. So we will do the same thing. We will just go to Google and we will tell Google bring out Gene Expression Omnibus. So Gene Expression, the website is right here where I'm pointing my cursor. We will just click on the Gene Expression Omnibus and it will bring the interface of the database. So this is the interface of Gene Expression Omnibus. What we will now do is we will just go to the search area. So the search area is asking us that we can input a keyword or we can put the GEO accession number. So if you know the geo accession number, which we will be doing now, you will just put in there and click on search, and directly it will directly lead you to the page where you can find the data sets corresponding to your geo accession number. But if you don't know and you are just looking for it, you are just looking for data sets for now, you can just put your keywords like breast cancer, for example. So when you launch search, it will bring two sets. It will bring two sets of results. So it's saying there are 155,000 etc. results of, and it's still saying there are I think it is 5 million this is results. So the first one 500 is about the data sets, is geo data sets, number of results is bringing, but the one down is the geo profile. So we are actually interested in the geo data sets. So you click on the first one. So you click on the first one. So once you click, this is typically the interface you will just reach. And what we are interested in here is the data set. So the entry type that we are interested in is the data set. So you will need to click on data set to choose the data set. Now, Geo is bringing data sets from for different type of organisms. So we are interested in Homo sapiens, humans. So you will choose Homo sapiens here. Make sure you choose Homo sapiens. So Homo sapiens is chosen. I hope you are seeing here in the search details. You can actually be watching out for your search results that you have been putting in. So we have we put in breast cancer, which stands for breast neoplasms, which stands for actually the mesh terms of breast cancer or breast cancer in all fields. And then we choose Homo sapiens for the organism that we are interested in. And we are actually in GO data sets, GDS. So we just choose the data set, the entry type, and the organism type. Now, what we are actually interested in is the study type we are interested in is expression profiling array. So if you come on customize here, you will find the different expression profiling, the different study type actually here. And if you are interested in a typical uh, if you're interested in a typical study type, you can just click on it and you tell the geo to show it up, and it will show it up. But we are not interested in other things other than expression profiling uh, by array. So we will just choose expression profiling by array. So you will now notice that we are in geo data set. We choose breast cancer mesh terms. We choose that we want data sets from Homo sapiens, and we are interested in the study type we are interested in is the expression profiling by array. So all those things are checked. So you are now good to go and start looking for the different data set that you can actually work with. So you can start right by here. You can be just checking the different DSE numbers one by one. So if you are just starting working with uh, looking for the data set of interest, you might need to just be checking them individually one by one you find until you find the database of your interest. So this particular one is one data set that we just click on. So we will try something. We will not be using the data set. I have the data set we will be using, but we will try something. I will try something so that just to explain to you. So typically what we will be doing next is to click on analyze with GO2R. So here you will have the different data sets. I mean, yes. So the different samples in this particular data set that you have chosen there. So what you are interested in doing here is actually to compare two sets, if I can say two sets of data. You want to compare samples, let's say typically a control sample and a test sample. So generally, your control sample will generally be normal samples because we are dealing typically with tissues here. And as we are talking about breast cancer, so we will have data sets typically that will be giving us normal samples and samples that are actually abnormal, affected, cancerous samples. So that's what you are looking for in this data set. So by scrolling up, you will check. So the data set, okay, let me say the data set here, you will see the different, I mean, title of these different columns here. They are not the same for different data sets. So it's for you to know what you are dealing with. If I see the column of title, for example, I can see whether that column will be the one guiding me, because I want to see normal samples and I want to see abnormal samples. Here I'm finding normal. So after normal, now there are samples that they name inflamed sigmoid column, inflamed sigmoid ascending column, descending sigmoid column, etc., etc. So is this data set correct, accurate, or can it help me actually to do the work I want to do? Because at the end, what I want to be able to do is which are the genes that are expressed, overexpressed, or underexpressed in cancerous samples, which are not actually that way in normal samples. So because that's what we will tell me, or we will direct me to think that these genes are actually probably the ones that are uh, I mean, involved in the progression or even initiation or even progression and even till metastasis of the disease in breast cancer in our case. So you will be checking those the data sets one by one, if you like, until you find the data set that will actually help you. So this data set will not help me at all. So I will just go back and continue. I will just go back and continue checking the other data sets. So when you will be working for the first time, that's how you will be doing your work until you get the data sets of interest. But because I've done that already, we will just use the data sets that I was able to find out, and we will use them directly for our analysis. Let's take let's take 1 minute of break, and we call off this one and we come right away. We come back right away. Can we do that, please? But
Yes, sir. Thank
yeah,
you, Yannick.
by following
Thank you.
the same link.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Recordings.
Okay, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we can continue. Other people will follow us later. So I just come back to the Gene Expression Omnibus, and as we said before, interface. As we said before, we can either put input the keyword or GEO assertion. So we've tried. We put the keyword. We went that way to see how it worked. It works. So now having the GEO assertion number of interest, we will just put it directly in this search area. So the one that I have here and we will try is GSE 20 GSE 20437 437. So I will just input it and I say search it for me. So this is the data set that I'm getting with that assertion number. If you like, you can actually read on the data set too. You can read the status when it was made public on this data in the database, the organism. You can make sure that, but you've actually yourself chose the organism before, and the experiment type expression profiling by array, and you can read a summary or abstract about the and overall design. You can read all those things about it there. So now as we know, we will just go directly on with analyze with GEO. So so in this particular data set, the data set is helpful because is actually telling us and distinguishing clearly which was the disease state, which sample is the control sample, and which one is the ailment sample, in our case the breast cancer sample. So when you will come here in the columns here, in fact you can drop down menu, you can see um, the different titles for different columns, the different columns that we have. You can see it there. You can see it there, and you can choose which column you want to let appear. Yeah, you can actually choose it. So what I'm interested in is the disease state here. So I can just choose not to see other things, for example. So we are interested in the disease state, and as I said, uh, this data set is showing us the control samples. As you can see as I'm scrolling down, and the breast cancer samples here. So what we will now do is, before analyzing, we want to set up our own set of samples. So we want to put the control samples together and uh, the breast cancer sample, the ailment samples together. So what we do is to define groups. So you will come here. Sorry, I will go back. So you come on defined group. I hope you can see it here. So you go on defined group here. You click on defined group, and it said enter a group name. So you will just enter. You click inside and you just enter. Generally, I just put control, and you put control. You do enter, and the group is created, and then I say test and enter, and you will create the test group, and you will create a control group. So the next thing to do now is to select your samples. Let me select the control one first. So I will just click on them. So I click and I choose them, I select them. This is control. So I choose control and I will assign control group to it. So by the moment you assign, you can see that now it's telling you that for your control group, there are 18 samples there. And please always make sure that you selected everything that you needed to select, and you do not select. Also make sure that you do not select what should not be selected. I hope you understand me. So for the control, if you go and select breast cancer and you assign control group, for example, you are already biasing, putting bias in your analysis. So here, as I'm scrolling down, I'm noticing that there are other samples down here which are also control. So I will still select them, choose them, and assign them to the control group. So I'm now done with the control group. I can now select the ailment group. In my case, breast cancer. I select them and assign them just by clicking on the group to test group. I hope you are following and you are not getting bored. Okay, so after selecting, after assigning the samples to the different group, we will now go on with the analysis. So generally the analysis, okay, you will now come to options down here and you will select uh, according to what generally is done in the literature, or if you know what you are doing, the test that you want to apply to it, etc., etc. If you remember, I told you that we will be using the Lima package here. So I will just tell it, apply Lima precision weight. I click on yes here. I click on yes here, and I also use to form first normalizations. So uh, I do as I learned it. So the adjustment to the p-value that has been chosen here for the first discovery rate is the Benjamin and Hirschberg. Uh, if you want to understand that, there is a page on it uh, on this interface that you can just click on it, or you click on more. You click on more here, it will lead you to the page and understand the different the different statistical method that are used and why they are used. And you click on more and you go and read, and you can also ask Google and understand. So I leave the Benjamin. I choose apply Lima, yes, and force normalization. And I will just say reanalyze. I click on reanalyze. Yeah, so after clicking on reanalyze, you just expect a bit the software, the database to give you the results. So we now get our results. We now have our results, and in our this particular case, what we are actually interested in are the actually the genes. And from here you will need to, okay, you we will first let's first download it. So let's download the full table. You can choose to download the full table, or if you want to download selected columns, you just come here on selected columns and you choose the columns that you want to download, and you just click on set, and it will be done. But me, I want to download the full table, so I will just click on download. Oh la la. I'm having internet problem, I think. Okay, it's now going, it's now processing. So it will tell you that the job is running, time elapsed. You will just patient, exercise patience. Okay, it's now downloaded. So this is our table here. I want to open it with Excel sheet. So I will just copy it. Download. I say copy and open with Excel. Please, can you see the Excel sheet now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we now have the Excel sheet and the table with the data that we've just downloaded from the Gene Expression Omnibus. As you can notice, we have our gene symbols here. I can just say put it in red for me. So we have our gene symbols here and the gene titles. We have the gene titles here in blue here, and we have the p-value here. We have the p-value here, and we have the adjusted p-value here. So we will be working with the p-value. No, we will be working with both the p-value, this one here. Let me put it in green. The p-value here and the fold change. So we will be working with the p-value and the fold change to fish out the different genes of interest based on how do you call it? The cutoff that we will design. If you remember, when we use the TCGA, we also set some cutoff there, uh, 0.05 and 2 for the fold change. So we will be using the same thing here. So for the p-value, we try and see, we will use actually the cutoff of 0.05, and for the fold change, we will use the uh, uh, fold change of 2. Fold change of 2. That's the absolute value of the fold change should be equal or more than 2. So in the case of downregulated or underregulated genes, we will be looking out of for fold change from -2, and from the for the up regulated genes, we will be looking at for 2 and above. Yeah, so that's the meaning of absolute value for change to so that's what we will actually be doing. And because we want to just consider uh the really highly differentiated genes. I hope you are getting what I mean by that. So that's why we choose the full change of 2, because it's not all the genes that we have in this table from the data set that we will actually be using. For the DCGA, when we use the Gapier database, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do it for it because we already fixed the fold chain to 2 into the machine before having those genes. So all the genes that we had from there was actually respecting the cutoff that we set. But because here in the gene expression, we didn't have the opportunity to set it straight in the database, so we can do it manually here with our Excel file and all. So I want to say we will stop here for today. And as I said in the beginning, tomorrow, they are the same time. We will come back and continue. And as I said in the beginning, that I propose that we work every Thursday and Friday. I propose that we work every Thursday and Friday. I don't know if it's okay for